we left off last week. A little review. Anybody remember?
We're seeing the covenant science fairs.
That's right. That's right. So a quick review of our journey here. The focus of this passage of Deuteronomy is to note that God has set a single place of worship. Whether it's the tabernacle or the temple later on, that's when sacrifices occur. You bring your offerings, your vows, your sacrifices at the one place, which it moved around a little bit. And so, as a quick review, when they entered into the promised land, the first place in Gilgal, it was about there for 5 years. It was kind of the headquarters for the conquering of the promised land. And so from there, they moved up to Shiloh. And so from Shiloh, it was there for over 300 years. And so that's where the tabernacle, that's where the worship and offerings occurred over this 300-year period. Specifically, we know the story of Hannah and their husband going to Shiloh to offer the yearly sacrifices. We know the festivals and the yearly events that took place at the tabernacle were occurring in Shiloh. And then here we have Hannah praying for a son. So God blessed with Samuel, and at that time Eli is the high priest. We also know that this is also during the period of the Judges, and the promise that the Israelites were turning away from God. It was a very difficult time. And here we have at this moment in time when Samuel is being apprenticed to Eli, that the Philistines attacked, the Israelites lost, and so the Israelites come returning back, and then that's where they decide, why don't we take the Ark of the Covenant out of the tabernacle and use it because no one's going to defeat us because we have the Ark of the Covenant with us. And what happened? The Israelites were defeated. About 30,000 people were killed in that battle, and the Philistines took over the Ark of the Covenant. Now it's the Ark of the Covenant now in possession of the Philistines. And so we know Eli's two sons, were killed during this battle, and news came back to the tabernacle about it, and his sons being dying, and he fell over in the back of his chair and broke his head. One of the son's wife was giving birth, but also around that same time. And what did she name her son? Think about it. The glory of the Lord is departed, the glory of God is departed. And so the wife died as well, and here we have Ichabod, the glory of God is departed. And so from here on out, we know that the Ark of the Covenant that we're doing back to the tabernacle. And we don't hear anything more about Shiloh from this point forward. Shiloh, at some point in time, is destroyed, but we don't know when that occurred. In the Biblical Bible, we don't have any more records to Shiloh occurring. So here we have the Ark of the Covenant moving forward. It's been taken to Ebenezer, and then from Ebenezer is taken to Ashdod. We're down here to Ashdod by the coast. What funny event occurred in Ashdod?
Was that when they put it in there with Dagon, and Dagon fell over?
That's right.
They split up and they broke his hands.
That's right.
Hands
That's right. So they put the Ark of the Covenant in the temple of Dagon, they were worshiping, and the morning they walk on in there, and there's the statue falling over. They lift him back up. The next day they find the statue falling over, and he's broken. And so then they wanted to get him out of there. And also there was a current where the people were getting hemorrhoids. And so they got him out there and took it to Gath. And Gath occurred the same thing. And we got to move it on, get it out of here. And Ekron, same thing. And so they just didn't want to put it out there. So in Ekron, they determined that we're gonna put it on a cart, not guided by any man. And if it goes to Bethshemesh, we know that the reason why we are facing these trials and facing these hardships is because of the Ark of the Covenant. And God encouraged this. So then when you go to Bethshemesh, they knew it was something random event occurring. And so the Ark of the Covenant on the oxen made its way to Bethshemesh. They also put golden mice and golden hemorrhoids as an offering. So very strange as a peace offering to what has been done. So just by 5 items represented 5 major cities in Philistine territory. So Bethshemesh has made its way to Kithar. What happened there?
50,000 people.
That's right. They tried to open the Ark of the Covenant, and 50,700 men died. 50,700 men died there because of Earth generator.
Did you tell us last week 50,070?
50,007. Yeah, 50,007. You're right. I put myself in the wrong place on my sheet there. So that's where we left off. So the Ark of the Covenant was there for about 60 years. And so we're going to pick up our story here in 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 2. And David rose and went with all the people that were with him from Bela of Judah to bring up from thence the Ark of God, whose name is called by the name of the Lord of hosts, that dwelt between the cherubims. They set the Ark of God upon a new cart and brought it out of the house of Abinadab that was in Gibeah, and Uzzah and Ahio, the sons of Abinadab, drave the new cart. And they brought it out of the house of Abinadab, which was at Gibeah, accompanying the Ark of God, and Ahio went before the Ark. And David and all his house of Israel played before the Lord on all manner of instruments made of fir wood, even on harps and psalteries and timbrels and on cornets and on cymbals. Finally somebody's excited about the Ark of the Covenant, right? But let's get it back. So, David's intention was to get it to Jerusalem. And when they came to Nedcun's threshing floor, Uzzah put forth his hand to the Ark of God and took hold of it, for the oxen shook it. And so as it's going down the road, the Ark of God is about to fall off the cart.
Where are you reading?
I'm on 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 2. I think I added some more verses to
First thing.
yeah, 2 Samuel.
Second Samuel. Okay.
2 Samuel.
Verse 6.
Verse 6, yes.
Okay.
And so this is where the oxen shook it, and Uzzah put forth his hand. You know that story. And so the Ark of the Covenant, basically the Ark of the Covenant's on the move. And so it's on the move. David's trying to move it. It falls off the ark. And the anger of verse 7, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah, and God smote him there for his error, and there he died by the ark of God. I don't know who's talking here. In verse 8, and David was displeased because the Lord made a breach upon Uzzah, and he called the name of the place Perizah to this day. So here we have the ark falls. Just so you know, Uzzah, this name Uzzah means strength. His name means strength. And Perizah means breach of Uzzah. Breach of Uzzah.
Is one of those D?
No, we're not calling that a particular place. We're just saying it's stating Jeremiah. Hasn't really moved. It never really got out of town. Somewhere in between these 2 points. So it didn't really move too far, fell off the cart, and there it stayed. Verse 9, and David was afraid of the Lord that day and said, how shall the Ark of the Covenant come to me? So David would not remove the Ark of the Lord unto him into the city of David, but David carried it aside into the house of Obed the Gittite. And the Ark of the Lord continued in the house of Obed the Gittite 3 months, and the Lord blessed Obed-Edom and his household. So here it falls off the cart. We don't know exactly where this particular house was, but somewhere between Kiriath and Jerusalem, and the ark had fallen, and so they got it to the nearest residence to house. And so this particular house is where it was held for the next couple months, for 3 months. This man Obed-Edom just means servant of Edom, and he must have been from the Levitical line because he was able to take care of the ark. And so they remained for 3 months. And what happened to his household while it was there? It was blessed. It was blessed. These other towns, tens of thousands of people were killed. in his house, he was blessed.
This one must have been measured.
That's right. That's right. That's right. They remained for 3 months, and it was to him and his house the occasion of great blessing. So we're going to leave that, and we're going to now go back to the tabernacle. The tabernacle. And so back to Shiloh. Think back to Shiloh, and we're going to jump to. So now we're at D. So 7 is house of Obed-Edom, house of Obed-Edom. And D is going to be Nob. Nob.
N-O-B.
N-O-B. N-O-B. So 1 Samuel chapter 22 and verse 11. 1 Samuel 22 and verse 11. Then the king sent to call Amalek the priest, the son of Eteb, and all his father's house, and the priests that were in Nob. So now we find out that the priests are in Nob. So that's where the tabernacle will be. So we have some sketchy information on where the tabernacle is after it left Shiloh. And they came, all of them, to the king. And Saul said, Hear now, thou son of Eteb. And he answered, Here am I, my lord. And Saul said unto him, Why have you conspired against me, thou and the son of Jesse, in that thou hast given him bread and a sword, and hast inquired of God for him, that he should rise against me to lie in wait at this day? Then Abimelech answered the king and said, And who is so faithful among all thy servants as David, which is the king's son-in-law, and goeth at thy bidding, and is honorable in thine house? Should I then begin to inquire of God for him? Be it far from me, let not the king impute anything unto his servant, nor to all the house of my father, for thy servant do nothing of all this, less or more. And the king said, Thou shalt surely die, and like thou and thy father's house. And the king said unto the footmen that stood about, Turn and slay the priests of the Lord, because their hand also was with David, and because they knew when he fled, and did not show it to me. But the servants of the king would not put forth their hand to fall upon the priests of the Lord. And the king said to Doeg, Turn thou and fall upon the priests. And Doeg the Edomite turned, and he fell upon the priests, and slew on that day 75 persons that did wear a linen ephod. And but the city of the priests smote he with the edge of the sword, both men and women, children, suckling, and oxen, donkeys, and sheep, with the edge of the sword. So again, Shiloh, remember at Shiloh, the glory of the Lord God has departed. The tabernacle, the Ark of the Covenant is no longer in the tabernacle, and now we're somewhere where King Saul is now, or the king is now Saul, and he is now chasing after David. David has been anointed the next king. King Saul is upset, and here we have King David was in the vicinity here of Amalek, and King Saul finds out about it and goes to Nob. And we find out that King Saul is very upset. And so what does King Saul want done, or have done? All the priests killed. I mean, if you think the nation of Israel has fallen to its lowest state, when you have the king killing the priests because of your own jealousy, you've got a problem, serious problem. Verse 20, and one of the sons of Abimelech, the son of Atib, named Abiathar, escaped and fled after David. And Abiathar showed David that Saul had slain the Lord's place. So Nob means north place. Nob means north place. And that's just north of Jerusalem. Just north of Jerusalem. We find the tabernacle next showing up, a place called Gibeon. Place called Gibeon. 1 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 39. And Zadok the priest and his brethren the priests before the tabernacle of the Lord in the high place that was at Gibeon. Here we are, Gibeon, to offer burnt offerings unto the Lord, unto the altar of burnt offering, continually, morning and evening, and to do according to all that is written in the law of the Lord, which he commanded Israel. 1 Chronicles 21:29, for the tabernacle of the Lord, which Moses made in the wilderness, and the altar of the burnt offering was at that season in the high place of Gibeon. 2 Chronicles 1:3, so Solomon and all the congregation with him went to the high place that was at Gibeon, for there was the tabernacle of the congregation of God, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, had made in the wilderness. But the ark of God had David brought up from Kirjath to the place which David had prepared for it, for he had pitched a tent for it at Jerusalem. Moreover, the brazen altar the Bezalel, the son of Uriah, the son of Hur, had made, he put before the tabernacle of the Lord, and Solomon and the congregation sought unto it. And Solomon went up thither to the brazen altar before the Lord, which was at the tabernacle of the congregation, and offered 1,000 burnt offerings upon it. And that day did God appear unto Solomon and said unto him, Ask, what shall I give thee? So we're going to step back and forth in time. We know it was at Nob. We know there was a great slaughter of the priests by King Saul. We know now that King David has come on the scene, and he has moved the Ark of the Covenant and is now at the house of Obed-Edom, right? And we know we're going to eventually converge on Jerusalem. So let's jump back. Oh, by the way, Gibeon, the name Gibeon means hill city. Hill city. And you may be familiar with the Gibeonites, because these are the ones who came to Joshua after the Battle of Ai, saying that we've come from we've come from a far place, we're thirsty, we're hungry, we would like to make a treaty with you as Israelites. They realized that when Joshua came to them, they would be conquered and slaughtered, and they decided, let's fool Joshua and make a treaty. And so God had specifically prohibited treaties with other peoples, and here Joshua fell into that. So the Gibeonites were saved because they were able to make a treaty. So this is where Gibeon is. So we can see they didn't really go very far from Gibeon over to Ai. So back to Jerusalem. 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 16. And the ark of the Lord came into the city of David. Michal, Saul's daughter, looked through the window and saw King David leaping and dancing before the Lord, and she despised him in her heart. And they brought in the ark of the Lord and set it in its place, in the midst of the tabernacle that David had pitched for it. And David offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. This is not the tabernacle of Moses. This is the tabernacle of David. David made his own tabernacle for the Ark of the Covenant. So we have at this moment in time, we have two tabernacles. Whether one looked like a tabernacle or not, more of a tent. But we have a tabernacle, a tent place for the Ark of the Covenant in Jerusalem that David had built. And we have the tabernacle of Moses at Gibeon. Tabernacle of Moses at Gibeon.
And what was that? After Gibeon, it was Jerusalem?
Right. Eventually, the tabernacle is going to disappear here at Gibeon, whether it's dismantled. We're going to come to the temple. The temple's going to be built. Remember, King David is not allowed to build the temple. He desires to build it, and he gets the Ark of the Covenant into Jerusalem and builds a tent for it. Built a tabernacle, known as the Tabernacle of David. 1 Chronicles 15:1, and David made his houses in the city of David and prepared a place for the Ark of God and pitched for it a tent. In that previous verse, what I read in 2 Chronicles, where Solomon's involved, so King David has gone off the scene, now King Solomon is on the scene, and he then goes to Gibeon to offer sacrifices. Right? The 1,000 sacrifices was in Gibeon, it wasn't in Jerusalem. So we have these two different tabernacles going simultaneously. The Ark of the Covenant to one, and offerings are made at the other. Very strange. Very strange. So here we have then the temple is built. Solomon's temple is built. 1 Kings chapter 6 and verse 1. And it came to pass in the 480th year, after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign, in the month of Ziph, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of the Lord. Began to build the house of the Lord. So from the tabernacle of David, the Ark of the Covenant moved into the Holy of Holies in the temple. The Moses tabernacle disappears off the scene, whether it's stored in the temple or not, that could be anybody's guess. But the artifacts in the tabernacle, the furniture in the tabernacle, would have been moved into the temple. Does that make sense to everybody? It's a wild story, isn't it?
Not like David is doing something total contrary to God's perfect will here. That's what it looks like to me.
But definitely, God didn't allow the Ark of the Covenant to be moved into the temple until the temple was ready. Because there it goes, falls off the cart. Well, that's God doing, to keep it from moving any closer to Jerusalem before it was needed, right? And remember, the glory of God departed out of the tabernacle. And so now the glory of God comes into the temple. And then we have the Ark of the Covenant that stays into the temple until 586 BC when the Babylonians, when King Nebuchadnezzar comes and takes all the artifacts out of the temple and destroys Solomon's temple. And then we don't ever hear about the Ark of the Covenant again.
There's a lot of, I've read some articles that they feel that the Ark of the Covenant is down in Africa, somewhere.
Read Ethiopia.
Ethiopia.
It could be somewhere underneath the Temple Mount.
There are some priests that are overlooking the site where they believe that the Ark of the Covenant is at right now.
Right. But scripturally, we don't talk about the Ark of the Covenant anymore. So which makes sense. The glory of God departed the tabernacle in Shiloh, and when King Nebuchadnezzar came, they were taken into captivity, which was a result of judgment and sin. That the glory of God departed as a temple at that time as well. So that is a real quick synopsis of the travels of the tabernacle and travels of the Ark of the Covenant. And remember, this is all because we're talking about that God has dedicated one place for the Israelites to worship. One place for the Israelites to worship. So Deuteronomy chapter 12, in verse 5, but unto the place of the Lord your God shall choose out of all your tribes to put his name there, even unto his habitation shall you seek, and thither thou shalt come. And thither you shall bring your burnt offerings, and your sacrifice, and your tithe, and heave offerings of your hand, and your vows, and your freewill offerings, and your firstlings of your herds, and of your flocks. And there you shall eat before the Lord your God, and you shall rejoice in all that ye put your hand unto, and your household, wherein the Lord thy God has blessed thee. So not only did God choose a place where the temple and tabernacle were going to be, you were required to go. You were required to go there. So number 2, you are required to go. Worshiping the Lord in a place he chose and with the reservation was not an option. One could not do as he pleased, and one could not stay home and worship. Being one with God out in nature was not an option. Being one with God in nature was not an option. You had to go to the temple. And this mainly dealt with the heads of the households, primarily getting to the temple, but there's other reasons why the women had to go as well. But the temple and the tabernacle were required, you had to go. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 23, let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering, for he is faithful that promise, and let us consider one another to promote us to love and to good works, not forsaking the assemblies of ourselves together as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the time as you see the day approaching. What great event and festival, the Passover, and the Day of Atonement, and all those times when they were required to be at the temple. The whole entire nation had gathered there. And so, if you recall, when Jesus was crucified during Passover, Jerusalem influxed to like 2.5 million people, all of a sudden converging on Jerusalem. It wasn't designed to hold that many people, but they crammed themselves in every different corner. Because this is where they were required to go. The required feasting was a joyful time. It was a great time to be in Jerusalem, and great to have the entire nation of Israel all gathered together in one spot. So we're making sure we go. And so even with our church, it's wonderful to see each and every one of you every Tuesday. And we miss those who can't be with us when they're not here. Same with on Sunday mornings, and Sunday nights, and Wednesday nights. This is also a place where you brought your tithes and offerings. So this includes your sin offering, your burnt offering, your freewill offering. And if you remember that big handout I gave you several semesters ago when we studied Leviticus, all the offerings that took place, this is where all that took place, at the tabernacle or at the temple. So all of these were brought there. This is also where you brought your first fruits of the harvest, your tithes. The first of the harvest, you brought it to the tabernacle or the temple. This is also a place of rejoicing. a place of rejoicing. What's fun time, what we talk about. Number 4 is rejoicing. Number 3 is, this is where you brought your tithes and your offerings. Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 8, you shall not do after all the things that ye do here this day, every man whatsoever is right in his own eyes. For ye are not as yet come to rest and into the inheritance which the Lord your God giveth you. But when you go over Jordan and dwell in the land which the Lord your God giveth you to inherit, and when he giveth you rest from all your enemies round about, so that ye dwell in safety, then there shall be a place which the Lord your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. Thither shall you bring all that I command you, and your burnt offerings, and your sacrifices, your tithes, and your heave offering of your hand, and all your choice vows which you vow unto the Lord. And you shall rejoice before the Lord your God, you, your sons, and your daughters, and your manservants, and your maidservants, and Levite that is within your gates, for as much as he hath no part nor inheritance with you. Take heed to thyself that thou offer not thy burnt offerings in every place that thou seest, but in the place which the Lord shall choose, in one of thy tribes, there thou shalt offer thy burnt offerings, and there thou shalt do all that I command thee. Because Moses is wrapping it out. You're not going to do whatever you so desire. You're going to do what the Lord tells you to do. And the Lord tells you to go to one place to worship. The Lord tells you to give all your tithes and offerings there at that place. So number 5, we're not to do as we do today, where every man does whatsoever is right in his own eyes. Whatsoever is right in his own eyes. Any questions on that part? And where to worship? We shift a little bit. So the whole overview of where you are, the covenant was, and tabernacle was. All right, verse 15, Deuteronomy 12:15. Notwithstanding thou mayest kill and eat flesh and all thy gates, whatsoever thy soul blesseth after, according to the blessing of the Lord thy God, which he hath given thee, the unclean and the clean may eat thereof, as for the robust and as for the heart. So we have instruction on what to offer in worship. Instruction on what to offer in worship. So number 1, we find here animals not intended for worship could be at home. Enjoy, eat. If it's not an offering, don't forget to eat it. When we have here eat the clean and unclean, there was the ceremonial clean and the ceremonial unclean, right? And then there was the clean and unclean animals. You know, if you have a sheep that's not firstborn, we eat it at home. Because it's not going to go towards the temple. Does that make sense? Eat at home. Eat at home. If it's not an offering, eat it at home. God gave it to you to enjoy. Verse 16, only you shall not eat the blood, you shall pour it upon the earth as water. Here Moses again reminds them not to eat the blood, because the life is in the blood. And so you make sure that your reminds them of that. Verse 17, thou mayest not eat within thy gates the tithe of thy corn, or thy wine, or thy oil, or the first things of thy herds, or thy flock, nor any of the vows which thou vowest, or thy freewill offerings, or heave offering in thine hand. All right, so if I've allowed you to eat everything that's not going to be not being offered at the temple, at home, therefore the reverse is true. I can't eat anything that's for the temple at home. It has to go to the temple. So we got this nice choice lamb here. Why don't we enjoy it at home? No, you better not do that, because that's going to the Lord. I better not be enjoying the first fruits of my harvest, because that's going to the Lord, right? So same way with us, we get our paycheck every week or bi-weekly, monthly, and we say, "Oh, I can use that time on something fun." Well, God says that that's for the Lord. Take it to the Lord. So 90%, use it for yourself.
Consecrated.
Yes.
Unto the Lord.
Verse 18, but thou must eat them before the Lord thy God, the place which the Lord thy God shall choose, thou and thy son, thy daughter, thy manservant, thy maidservant, and the Levite which is in thy gates. And thou shalt rejoice before the Lord thy God in all that thou puttest thy hands to do unto you. Passover was a huge, incredible, and wonderful feast. That feast occurred in Jerusalem, or Tabernacle. The feast occurred there. You didn't enjoy Passover somewhere else. You enjoyed it because the lamb was offered, and you took the remainder of the lamb to eat, to celebrate. It was a great time of rejoicing. You did it there around the temple. Verse 19, take heed to thyself that thou forsake not the Levite as long as thou livest upon the earth. When the Lord thy God shall enlarge thy border as he hath promised thee, and thou shalt say, I will eat flesh, because thy soul longeth to eat flesh, thou mayest eat flesh, whatsoever thy soul lusteth after. At the place which the Lord thy God has chosen to put his name, there be too far from thee, then thou shalt kill of thy herd and thy flock which the Lord hath given thee, as I have commanded thee. Thou shalt eat in thy gate whatsoever thy soul lusteth after. Even as the roebuck and the hart is eaten, so shalt thou eat them. The unclean and the clean shall eat of them alike. Only be sure that thou eat not the blood, for the blood is the life, and thou mayest not eat the life with the flesh. Thou shalt not eat it, thou shalt pour it upon the earth as water. Thou shalt not eat it, that it may go well with thee and with thy children after thee, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of the Lord. Only thy holy things which thou hast and thy vows thou shalt take and go into the place which the Lord shall choose, and thou shalt offer thy burnt offerings and the flesh and the blood upon the altar of the Lord thy God, and the blood of thy sacrifices shall be poured out upon the altar of the Lord thy God, and thou shalt eat the flesh. Observe and hear all these words which I command thee, that it may go well with thee and with thy children after thee forever, when thou doest that which is good and right in the sight of the Lord. What is good and right in the sight of the Lord? Give the Lord what's the Lord's, and keep what God has given you, right? Amen. So very simple as that. Moses went into great detail to make sure every point was covered, and then he repeats himself to make sure you knew what to do. But even we ourselves know that how quickly we can fall into not giving the Lord what is the Lord's and keep it for ourselves. So here are some things, just as a reminder. First fruits of the harvest. First fruits of the harvest. The first of the harvest needs to go to the Lord. It's not for yourself. B, the firstlings of the clean animals, the firstborn, goes to the Lord.
Firstborn?
Firstborn or firstlings. Apparently, second B on your list should be C. Your free will offerings. Your free will offerings. These are offerings that you did voluntarily, that you gave to the Lord, whether it was because God answered a prayer, a vow that you had that was completed. You completed training for the past, several weeks, and you thank the Lord, so you bring your offering to the Lord as a free will offering. Your heave offerings, D, your heave offerings. Heave, as in up and down a heave. It has to do with the first fruits. You put the part of the first fruits sacrifice where you're going up and down, you're presenting to the Lord. It's a motion the high priest did at the altar.
What's the difference between A and B?
Well, the first fruits is the grain itself, right? Versus the sacrifice, the animal sacrifice. And then E is your tithes for the Levites. Don't forget, the Levites get a tithe from you.
So it was 3.
Keep the tithes and offerings for the Lord.
3?
Yeah, keep the tithes and offerings for the Lord. Number 2, Moses reminded them not to eat blood. And number 1, animals not intended for worship could be eaten at home. This question is not very simple, but something we need to be reminded on. And there's a blessings if we do what's right. There's blessings when we do what's right. When thou doest what is good and right in the sight of the Lord, will be blessed. And number 3, avoidance of idolatry. Avoidance of idolatry. verse 29, when the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee, whither thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them and dwellest in their land, take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God, for every abomination to the Lord which he hateth have they done unto their gods, for even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in their fire to their gods. What things soever I command you, observe to do it. Thou shalt not add thereto, nor diminish from it. So how do you avoid idolatry? A, don't follow them. Don't follow them. Verse 30, take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them. B, don't inquire about them. Don't inquire about them. Don't even ask. Oh, I wonder what you guys are doing. That sounds pretty fun. I like going to parties. That party's for that God, and enjoy. Don't inquire. Don't inquire. I saw a sign on a fireworks store along the road that says, fireworks for Diwali. Diwali. I think it's a Hindu feast. It's a period of feasting, called this holiday called Diwali. And there it is on the billboard, or on a store sign. Apparently, they wanted you to buy fireworks to shoot off during the period. C, they did every abomination that God hates, even sacrificing their babies. They did every abomination that God hates, even sacrificing babies. So don't even follow, don't inquire, stay away. It's total abomination. Total abomination. I was informed that there's a temple to Baal in Syria that ISIS destroyed a couple years back. And there's a group that does digital scans of architectural, archaeological buildings and elements, ruins, archaeological ruins. That's kind of cool to make sure there's a digital footprint of what was built and how it looked and so forth. Anyway, this is a temple to Baal. And what has happened recently, this past summer, they opened a recreation of these arch, this particular arch, a monumental arch that you walk through before going to the temple proper. And they put one in Trafalgar Square in London, downtown London. And there's one being built in New York City at City Hall, the park in front of City Hall, where this arch is to Baal. And so I was inquiring, reading up. The Bible says not to inquire, but I was reading up on the temple, and how we talked about how the temple ground was all kinds of abomination, all kinds of sexual practices were done there at the temple and so forth. And so this would occur in the groves, the gardens around the temple. And then, after these sort of events occur, pregnancy occurs, right? And so this is where they get the baby sacrifice, because they didn't want the babies, so they sacrificed them. And so just horrific stuff. And so here we have in New York City a recreation of one of the temples to Baal is being built.
That's all we need, man.
Mm-hmm. And D, obey every word of God. Do not take any word away. So here's the guidance to avoid idolatry. Don't follow them. Don't inquire of them. Everything they're doing is abomination to God. And obey every word of God. Don't take any of it away.
And it's,
Do not add.
Do not add or take any word away. Do not add or take any word away. We know that's what people want us to do. If there's something in Scripture that they don't like, let's remove it. Paul gives the same warning in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 11, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. It's a shame to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. And too many times in television, those things which are done in secret are right on top. And that seems to attract us as humans.
So Peter, all right. David built the temple, right? And
No, they did not build the temple. He wanted to. God told him not to, right?
He made provision.
But when they went back and got the Ark of the Covenant to put it in the temple, did they have all the other artifacts?
That would have been in the tabernacle of Gibeon.
Okay,
So
so
the Ark of the Covenant is one location, and the house of Obadiah.
so only the Ark of the Covenant left and did the route. The other
Right.
artifacts
Stayed with the tabernacle.
Okay, and then, but who was the king that destroyed the temple? Nebuchadnezzar.
The Babylonian.
He took all the stuff, right?
Right,
And
but we don't have any
the picture-
record of the Ark of the Covenant returning.
Right, but you showed a picture one time where I guess Nebuchadnezzar people were walking out, and remember they had all the artifacts with them.
Was this the stone arch?
Yeah.
So that was the Arch of Titus, which was the Roman Empire, Roman emperor, the Roman soldiers taking it out of King Herod's temple. So that was, yeah, I think that was
that
was
shot
Emperor
you put
Titus.
up one time on the screen,
Yeah,
where they was carrying the.
right. So there we have an actual engraving of a candlestick being carted off. So that definitely a prized image of what it will look like. Yeah.
People open up the ark, when they guys do.
Yeah, I'm presuming that answers the question, how would it have been moved? Okay. But the Philistines moved it. Of course, they suffered. They suffered. God will allow things to be moved because of this. And right then, the glory of God has departed. Israelites are taken into captivity. Temple is destroyed.
Now, if the Ark of the Covenant still exists in what country is Liberia?
I have seen Ethiopia.
Ethiopia. And then the tablets of the Ten Commandments are still there.
Right. Right.
That would be a prize to get if we ever found it.
I'm not going to touch it. Favors. Does the Lord have his way with you? I don't think you want to know if you look inside, try to attempt to look inside and see if it's there. Maybe get out of a car and put it through an X-ray machine. Just have the game like this. Any questions? We're at the end of chapter 12, and we have a couple minutes before 8 o'clock. You can always jump into chapter 13, but I might as well stop before we have a good break. Other questions? It's just a fascinating history, and there's so many more questions.
Where Indiana Jones gets all his adventures.
Yeah.
And I like to say,
I did.
Wow, that's so great. So Father, we thank you for today, Lord. We thank you that, again, that you're in control of all things, and that, Lord, maybe teach your word, Lord, and Lord, maybe not look to the left or the right and see what others are doing, what others are worshiping, what others have put as their priorities in their lives, and Lord, but keep you first in all things, Lord, and Lord, we know when we keep you first that you'll bless and direct and protect us, Lord. Lord, may we be with our churches, may we be with our cities. Lord, again, we lift up our new president to you. Lord, that you have your hand on the person, Lord, and may they quickly see that they need you in the most stressful job in the world. And they need to make the right decisions that are based on your word. Lord, we desire that they seek you. Lord, may everybody, all the staff and all the legislatures and everyone in form of government look to you for all things. And Lord, we just thank you for what you're doing. And Lord, may you bless Pastor Allen, fill him with the Holy Spirit, and they overcome. Lord, we just thank you for your people. Amen.